Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder if retirement is a smooth ride for your mental health, or if it throws some curveballs? Well, this new study might just have some answers. We are diving into how people's feelings of sadness and depression change around the time they retire all across different countries in different times. So imagine this retirement is a huge life change for so many people, right? It's not just stopping work, it's a whole new chapter. And as we get older, how we feel mentally can also change. Some studies say people feel sadder when they retire, others say they feel better. It's a bit of a puzzle. This is a big deal because more and more people are retiring every year. The researchers wanted to really understand what happens to people's feelings of depression around this retirement moment. They looked at retirement age, pre-retirement and post-retirement phases. They used something called multi-level models. Think of multi-level models like looking at things from different levels. You have the individual person, and then you have the bigger picture like the country they live in or the time period they are retiring in. They used big studies from the US, China, Europe, and South Korea to see if these things made a difference. So here is the main question: does retirement make people feel sadder, happier, or does it depend? And it turns out it really does depend. The study found that how people feel around retirement is not the same everywhere or at every time. In the US with the HRS study, they saw sadness go up before retirement, then jump up again right at retirement, and then slowly go down afterward. In Europe with the SHARE study, it was mostly a small dip in sadness right when people retired. In China with the Charles study, people's sadness seemed to just keep going up around retirement time. No big jump, just a steady climb. And in South Korea with the closest study, they saw an immediate jump in sadness at retirement, followed by a drop afterward. So right away, we see that there isn't one single story. It's really different depending on where you are and when you retire. The researchers also looked at what retirement means to people. They talked about things like role theory. This is the idea that when you retire, you lose your work role. For some, this might be a relief. It's like taking off a heavy coat. But for others, it's like losing your identity, and that can be tough, leading to more sadness. They also considered older ideas and newer ones, like the crisis view, where retirement is seen as a loss of status and recognition. Then Therese the continuity theory, which suggests people try to keep things the same and use old strategies to stay stable. And the conservation of resources theory, which talks about losing and gaining things like money, friends, and purpose. When you lose too much, you might feel depressed. They also thought about personality. People who worry a lot or are less outgoing might be more prone to sadness. But these personality traits can change as we get older, especially around big life events like retirement. But here is where it gets really interesting. The researchers stress that it's not just about the individual person, it's also about the bigger picture macro level factors. Things like the economy and government rules about retirement. Think about it, governments can change the age when people are supposed to retire. They can also change how much money people get from pensions. These big picture changes affect everyone. They divided their study into different time periods. For example, in the US, they looked at periods before 2000, the dot-com recession, the Great Recession, and so on. Each of these periods had different economic challenges and policies. They found that the historical time when someone retired had a big impact. For instance, in the US during economic downturns, people's sadness levels stayed about the same before and after retiring, but they actually spiked right at the moment of retirement. But in later periods after 2016, the sadness didn't jump at retirement, but there was a general increase across the whole retirement time. This shows that the economic storm could really change how retirement feels emotionally. These differences across countries and time periods are super important because they tell us that how we retire and how we feel about it is deeply tied to the society we live in and the economic times we are going through. So what does this all mean? Well, it means we can't just give one answer to the question of whether retirement is good or bad for mental health. It's way more complex. The timing of retirement really matters. Are you retiring early because you have to or late because you want to? This timing is shaped by your health, your money, and government policies. The study suggests that preparation for retirement should be timed with emotional needs. If sadness starts before retirement, then people need help preparing. If it spikes at retirement, then they need support right at that moment. And if it continues to grow after retirement, then long-term support is key. Now, of course, no study is perfect. The researchers pointed out that using different questionnaires to measure sadness in different countries might make direct comparisons tricky. Also, some groups in the study were smaller, which means their results might be less reliable. But even with these challenges, this study gives us a much clearer picture. It shows us that retirement is a journey with ups and downs, and a lot of that depends on the wider world around us. It's a reminder that big life transitions are often shaped by more than just our personal choices. Understanding this can help us create better policies and support systems for everyone as they navigate one of life's biggest transitions. So that's a look at this fascinating research. What do you think? Does your experience or what you've seen match these findings? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this dive into psychology, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Rubin's Mind Lab, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the human mind. Thanks for watching, and well, see you next time.